I've always wanted to live on a boat ever since I was like 14. Got the boat and now I'm living the dream.
Me and my girlfriend decided to move onto a boat. I don't know if there was any kind of one specific eureka moment or anything, but it just seemed like a nice way to live. So we decided that we'd move onto the canals and do a thing called continuous cruising, which means that every 2 weeks we move location. All boats generally are allowed to stay for free for up to 2 weeks anywhere along the canal. As long as they can moor there, then they're okay to stay there. And it's not private property. It's low impact lifestyle. I mean, all sorts of people are drawn to boats for all sorts of reasons. People call it the longest village. It kind of sums it up. You know most people along the canals.
Probably we're seen as sort of slightly bohemian, anarchic sort of people. And in a way, maybe that's a reasonable description of some of our community, but it's a very sort of creative, politically aware community.
And she climbed the mountain tops to find a name.
As part of the Olympics, they've introduced a 3-mile security perimeter around the games on the canals. And what that means in practice is that for a month and a half either side of the games, they're going to be putting security barriers, which means that no boats can pass except for official Olympics boats. British Waterways, the people who run the waterways, have tried to charge for moorings during that time.
People that want to have their boats within what they're calling the mooring control zone have to pay £360 to do that. And we have to move miles away from the Olympic Park. It's kind of almost out of London, and for many people it's really sort of impinging on their lives.
Most people are kind of staying around the edges of where they're allowed, which means that we're going to get a huge logjam of boats. They're going to be, kind of, I think, turn into a bit of a shantytown.
I think we had to be here by the 3rd of July, but we thought we better try and get here like 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks before.
What you're seeing in effect is a kind of refugee camp from London, basically.
I think the rowers won't like it because it crowds up the canal.
Well, lots more barges parked on the banks and both sides, so narrowing the river. And they're also having to double park, which means you get 2 barges next to each other. And when you're in a rowing boat, the river becomes quite narrow and you've got these blades. So that we've noticed.
We're all a little bit worried. Like some people think, oh, they're not going to let us back in, or they're going to implement some new rules and stuff like that. We just don't know. We'll wait and see what happens in September.
Shame on you, Lotta, that you don't know your name. Your name.
I don't know. Maybe they just think like we kind of take the piss living this cheap life or something, and it's kind of like, obviously, like the upper class, they think maybe it looks really bohemian and rough and like it's a pile of gypsies, living on the water, which is not true, because most people, there's teachers and doctors and social workers.
There is all walks of life involved in it. People who've had very privileged lives, and then there are people, who've come out of prison, perhaps had quite a hard life. And everybody really, genuinely just mixes and gets on.
It's all great. Got the grass and our own little private garden. And the cat is loving it.
Why don't you just learn your name?